Oh, hello people. I was just thinking, life is tough. Life can be really tough. And there was a time when I never considered the thought of suicide as being an option, as a way out. Until several years ago when I had a very unfortunate situation happen in my life where I got to watch people in pain. I got to watch people who felt as though their end finally came and there's no way around the circumstances and the discomfort they were feeling. They felt as though that it didn't matter. There was nothing to look forward to. While most of it was psychological and probably mental, most people was going on emotional drives that created the worthlessness that would precede an ideation of terminating their lives. I'm not about to do that, but I understand it. I understand it now when you're traumatized by images of valuelessness, of not being able to meet your goals, not fitting in, not measuring up, that no one would really understand you. You're in a unique situation where it just seems as though the suicide for people is that option. They want to check out. Most don't believe that life is going to get any better from their point of view. And I always told myself I would never go there, and I would never think about it. But then I found that people had really good ideals about why they wanted to end their lives. Again, some of them going through very, very painful experiences, physically, psychologically, mentally. Some, psychologists and mental health, facilitators, they all say it's a cry for help, and it may be a cry for help. However, it's how people look at their lives and the value of it and where it can go. There was a time I would knock people. I would say they were cowards, and I would say that they know how to deal with it. And the fact that I wanted to brush it aside and say, I'm much better than they are, and it just seems to me that it is an scapegoat, it's a cop-out for dealing with life. However, again, when we don't understand what goes on inside people's heads, we don't understand how they deal with certain factors and how they reconcile with certain ills of their life. And I'm not so sure that those who are hurting real bad and we think we have all the answers. People who are successful and people who never really get into that kind of emotional bankruptcy, if you will. People who believe that it's an attempt to right all the wrongs. Well, there are times when I got into deep depression. There's times when I saw things in my life I didn't like. There's times when I knew that my life never amounted to anything, and how could anyone accept me for who I am? And then I realized the fact that that suicide is an option. Although I had to, I would never do that because I either do or die, and I'm afraid to die, so I'm just going to have to do, which means I would put all of my energies into getting past issues and resolving difficulties and seeking out help and coming to a healthy state, an appropriate thinking pattern. But I'm not giving credence, or this is not, for me to condone that suicide is the option. But it is an option for many people. And it shouldn't be overlooked. I don't encourage it, but it shouldn't be overlooked, because what we may think that we can get over certain situations and we have the strength, there are people who they don't believe that there's any other way out but to terminate their lives, what many people say, prematurely. So that's a funny thing. It's a funny thing that happens. You put yourself in another person's shoes and really empathize with them where they're at. Not that you want to hand them the knife, you want to hand them the drugs, you want to hand them the rope. Right, we're civilized people, we don't want to be doing that. But sympathize and know where people are. And know that any one of us can be hit with devastating news. Any one of us can have that darkness, that deep darkness where there's no light, we can't see any light, where we're in pain. There's a psychological imbalance, there's a chemical imbalance going on, and everything there's an excruciating pain, and that suicide for most people is the best option. Again, I don't encourage it to happen. I don't want this to ever be said that I'm encouraging it to happen. I can't imagine people not thinking about it, though, and certainly someone as intelligent as I am, I have thought about it. I'm quite sure some psychologists will say, oh, you have suicidal ideations and things of that nature. Well, we're bombarded by images of people who either have entertained it, thought about it, seen it, and things of that nature. I believe in life. However, as I go through my own issues, I can see why suicide sometimes would be the option for people. We can all use some help.